Hi guys, I'm David with Transparency Fitness Live. Today we have Ajeti on, famed barber. This guy's been cutting my hair for 4 or 5 years. He's had an amazing journey getting here. He wasn't even born in the U.S. And I was like, I got to have this guy on to talk about his life, his business, you know, everything that he's doing. You've got some big things coming up that you just finished school.
Yes,
so, you know, word on the street is we're opening up a barber school.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, like, I want to hear about everything you got going on because... In a manner of speaking, you kind of started from nowhere, man. And look where you're at now. I mean, you didn't really have any help. You pulled yourself up on your own bootstraps, and you just made things happen. You got a whole family. You know, you got 3 kids, a wife.
Yes, blessed. Blessed, man. Blessed.
But I mean,
sure.
and you've had support. But I mean, again, like everything has come from your hard work. And
Yes.
I want to hear the journey, man.
Awesome.
Like, well, let me know what's up.
Well, guys, first off, this is my first time doing a podcast ever. Never done this before, but. My name is Ajeti, also known as Eurocuts.
Look him up on Instagram.
I'm originally from Kosovo. My nationality is Albanian. Still till this day, I'll get asked by clients like, "Where you from, man?" I've gotten pretty much almost every nationality, but where I'm originally from, the roots is Albanian, Kosovo. I came here in the States when I was like 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I am 34 as of last Sunday.
Oh,
So,
happy birthday.
That's it, man. It's been a fun journey. And here we are now having the first podcast.
So when you originally moved at 9 years old, did you move here like straight to Lexington, or where did you guys move to first in the States?
No, so when we first moved, man, the whole reason, long story, we try to sum it up short. We got all night. We got all night. Okay, so when we first came here, man, we had to actually come from there was a war going on in 99.
Okay.
It's a whole big thing that I don't even want to touch base on, but it was for our safety. My dad decided that we got to get the hell out of there.
Okay.
And one of the options that we had was the States. When we first came, we
actually... So you guys like refugees?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Came here as a refugee in 99. And the first time we were in Connecticut. We stayed there for about 3-4 years as we were settling in, and it was crazy stuff to transition from all that.
Yeah. So do you remember much being that young? I mean, this is, you know, like 15 years ago, right?
I do the whole, like...
What was, like, your biggest thing at a 9-year-old, like, coming to the U.S. and being like, shit, like, whoa, this is so different than, like, what I'm used to?
See, the thing with that, David, is my father always moved, man. He's always moving countries. The first time before we came to the States, actually, I lived in Germany.
Really?
Another 6-7 years. Yeah, so my dad was always traveling, trying to make a better life for himself and his family and all that, and always grinding and hustling. I feel like that's where I got all my, you know, hustling that from him, because he never stopped and still doesn't stop. But once we came to Connecticut, David, 3-4 years, it took a while to adjust it, man. The biggest thing was the language, obviously, and trying to start from scratch, because you don't have any, like, help. It's just nobody's really guiding you. You just got to trying to figure out there.
Right.
So once we figured it out after 3-4 years, I had more refugees come here, and Kentucky was one of them. And we had family here, like cousins and whatnot. So
family's important.
Exactly. So my dad was like, "Hey, man, we're fairly new here. We don't got nothing here, so at least we would like to be close to family." So we ended up moving to Kentucky. I don't want to say what, for 4 years later, and we've been here since, bro.
So you went from Kosovo to Germany, then to Connecticut?
Yeah, so we were born in Kosovo. Once I was like, I think about 1.5 years or 2, we moved to Germany. My dad was like, "All right, I can't do it in Kosovo."
So you actually spent the first, like, really 8 years of your life, 9 years of your life, really, in Germany.
Yes, correct. So I had to learn German.
Do you still speak German? Do you still remember
I
it?
do pretty decently. Like,
can you understand it, I guess, if someone's talking?
Absolutely, yeah. I can definitely get around. Like, if I go out there, give me 4 or 5 months, I could bring it right back. That's for sure, because I had to go to school and learn it to go day by day.
Right. And at that age, you pick that stuff up. So
exactly. So my dad ended up making some money, saving up, and he was like, "All right, I'm good out here now. I'm going to go back home, see my mom and my brother, and continue the life," because he had tried to make a few things, how to build a home. Well, once we made that decision, bro, that's when everything changed. And it's like from one small decision that he had made cost us everything for him.
So you got to the U.S. when like right at like 9-10 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So before all that, man, my dad ended up moving that year, he was like, "All right, I'm done enough for Germany. 7 years, all my family's here. Woo, woo, woo. Let's go back to Kosovo." He's like, "My mom is there. I got to see her while she's alive. I worked enough, built a house." Long story short, man, as soon as we moved, David, I'm like, "What the hell? Like, this has just changed," because it's different. Kosovo is in the eastern part of Europe, next to Albania, Macedonia, Bosnia. I don't know if people ever know where that's at, but most of the time
they
when
got
I
a
do
map,
answer
they can
them,
look it up.
most of the time when I say that in the barbershop, some do, some don't. Majority of them don't. But anyhow, man, that's where I'm from, though. But once my dad got there, 4 months, the house was just settling in. It was been furniture everywhere. The freaking war popped, man. Middle of the war. That was like, what, 8 years old, 7, 8? And I actually remember the whole thing. Like, it's crazy. I was, 7, 8, going into 9. Those whole 2, 3 years, that's the whole transition was like trying to escape the war. And I was just getting at that point where like I'm starting to understand things, as a kid.
Right.
You make sense. I got kids by now and I can tell.
Yeah, how old is your oldest?
My oldest 9.
Yeah, so
now
he's
I
right
can
there
tell,
at that same age.
I can tell. And sometimes I'll sit there and think about it like he's starting to pick things together.
Right.
I feel like
well,
at that
this
age,
is the age that I moved to America.
Exactly,
like,
man. So the whole change, man. Once that happened, my dad was like, "What the hell did I do? Too late now." Long story short, came out here. That's what we're here for. That's it. That was the background of the whole thing.
So you did Connecticut for a while, then you moved to Lexington. Did you guys move to Lexington?
Lexington, straight up. Yep.
Okay, and then so you were what? When you moved to Lexington, you were like high school, I guess, right? Freshman.
It was middle school. Middle school. I started 5th, 6th grade.
Okay.
I went to Southern Middle School. That's where I went at.
So how did you get into barbering then? Like because you don't have any college, do you?
I don't.
You have a trade school college, like getting your barber certificate or license. I guess a license, right?
Yep.
So like, what inspired you to become a barber, and like, kind of what was that whole journey? 'Cause I feel like you've been cutting my hair almost like maybe a year after you got out of school. Like, how long you been out of school now?
It's been a while. So the breakdown of that, David, how the whole transition, because I do get that asked a lot. Like, how did you start cutting hair? What happened? What was the inspiration? Once we had moved to Kentucky, David, my dad was working at a factory, man. And the thing is, like, he was making enough, but just to get by. So I was the only son in my family. I have 3 other sisters, and so like I was at a point where, as we grew, responsibilities got bigger. So my dad was doing good until we started getting older and things got more, expensive. He was like, dang, this shit's getting tight. So
Right.
I had to step in at 19, 20. But before all that started though, I never was just a big school guy. No disrespect about that. I respect whoever gets the degrees. But for me, it just
didn't work for you.
Just
That's
didn't
fine.
work for
I
me.
get it.
I
It's
was
not for
always
everybody.
like, because everybody got a gift. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to figure it out. Me, personally, I feel like I felt that passion and gift early on, which was like with clippers and, razors and all that. The biggest thing how that started was I didn't even have no clippers. I used to have a cousin of mine. He used to always want to like look fresh all the time. And he used to have this little trimmer. And I used to always use his for his beard. And then like this little the Schick Quattro. They used to have 3 little razors on the top. They used to have a little place where you can line a mustache. So that's what I was doing. I was young, man, like throughout high school. But where I really took it serious, David, was junior, senior year. I was like, I could see my dad was trying to, make ends meet. I was like, I can't do no 4 years of this and that. So I was like, let me see what I enjoy the last 2 years of high school, what I do the most.
Okay.
And that was cutting hair, because what I started doing is cutting hair, all my boys at school, kitchen cuts.
Were you like the guy? Like
Absolutely,
everyone's coming to you like,
yes,
hey,
yes,
hey,
I would
need
cut
that,
at the
need that.
house, kitchen cuts everywhere, just trying to make it, And towards the end of my senior year,
Did people ever hook you up with some money?
Yeah, they tipped there. It'd be a lot of free haircuts, man. That's where
Yeah,
it
well, I
starts.
feel like you,
For
like,
sure,
especially not being
It was a lot of free
licensed, you're in
haircuts.
high school, like
You would rarely get tips here and there, but honestly, at that point, it was just like
Practice.
this new journey. I'm trying to tackle it. Let's see what it's got to offer. What
Okay.
is it? But that senior year, man, I was in West Jessamine. Lived in Lexington, then we moved to Nicholasville, West Jessamine. I grew up in Nicholasville, by the way. Nick Vegas, represent. My family and I moved there, and we grew up there majority of my whole life since I've been in Kentucky. I just recently moved to Lexington about 4 months ago, thank God. But through high school, David, that's when I knew, bro. The senior year, I was like, man, this is it. I got interested. I had some friends and family members that cut hair, had shops around here. So throughout that last year of my senior year, I started going out and seeing to my barber. I used to always get my cut. That's one thing. I always want to be fresh. When it comes to like haircuts and having a fit check, I got to be right all the time.
I get it.
So that was, something that ties together with the whole barbering thing, And as you grow up, you start sensing these things. And I was just trying to puzzle them together. So sure enough, I was like, I'm not going to try to get 4 years. I need to start helping my dad soon too. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like The passion was there. Why not push? Let's see what we get out of it. So we finished high school. I graduated in 07. And as soon as I graduated 07, David, I went straight to Barber College because I already had everything ready. I just needed my diploma.
Okay.
Without that, they wouldn't start me. So as soon as I got it, bro, the next day, like, went straight to Barber College.
So you were like, you knew coming out of high school, this is what you were doing.
Yep. The last year, my senior year, I was just like, man, this is not for me. Like, try to go to school. And I was trying to figure out what I want, what I feel like, what gift I got. What can I do to make it happen? At the same time, I always told myself, David, like, and I even tell a lot of these younger cats nowadays too, man, like, you got to find something that you love, right? Always with, something that you're good at, but that you love to do as well. But
right.
Behind all that stuff, man, like, everyone has a purpose.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So for me, going to the barber culture in the young ages and really seeing what it was all about and what I had to offer, that was like a place that always made me feel real good, like at all times.
Now, were there a lot of other guys your age going over? Like, what's that age group like of people in Barber College? Like, were there a lot of other high school seniors that are just graduating high school?
There's a lot,
man.
It's all mixed. There's all mixed.
Or is there like
guys,
middle-aged, older guys?
Absolutely. It's all a mix, man. It's all a mix.
Okay, so there isn't like one age that seems to dominate the barber school, or at least when you were going through.
Yeah, not much. No, middle-aged men I think was a lot more then, but as of like today, has changed a lot.
Oh, well, the game, and we're going to get to it, but the game has changed so much. But before we get
to that, David, sometimes I might get, mixed up because it's the first time. I'm just trying to dish all this fun.
That's fine, man. Let it out, man. We're just sitting here relaxing, having a good time, just chatting.
So back to what we're talking about, David, the part where we, before graduating, man. So that senior year, I knew it. I was like, it's going to take 1 year.
Okay.
And I was like, I already knew where I wanted to like work, what I wanted to do. So
what was school like for that year?
It was dope.
Like seriously, like coming out of high school, like you're probably ready to be done with school. But you're going right back into school. Granted, you're probably excited about this school that you're going to, right?
I really was.
But I mean, you still had to hit the books. You still had to do things that were very school like.
I did.
So what was that like though? That year for you?
Well, I looked at it like that. I was like, man, so if this whole thing is going to take me about a year, I was like, that's not a long time. You know
right.
What I'm
so it seemed
like,
very attainable. Like it was like, I'm not going to be stuck here for the next 4 years.
Exactly. Because I need to move forward, David, so I can start helping my father out. You know what I'm saying? Because I was just like, he needs some help. So man.
Also starting to bring some income in to help the family out was very important to you.
Man. My dad came here when we first moved here, David. I actually asked him this a while back. I said, how much did you have when you first came to the States? He said like $6,000, $7,000.
That's more than probably a lot of people.
Yeah, but
that still is not much. That's not going to get you very far.
Yeah.
Even in 90, when you guys came here in 99?
No apartment, no nothing. All that was gone, man. They just, yeah, you came here as a refugee, but like, you really don't understand. Like, we lived Section 8 for a while too, had to, you know what I'm saying? So you had to go through all that, transition, but couldn't have it any other way, man. Blessed. Couldn't have it any other way. I feel like, that's what makes people, the journey.
So what was the hardest part about school that you can remember?
So barber school, as far as barber school, the hardest part, man, to me, the whole journey itself was fun because I was very eager to learn, David. The thing with that was the book work and all that, because I was still kind of like fairly new, still trying to learn the right English and what, how to use it. So at times there were a little bit of the, understanding of the book work.
Right.
But I had so much love for it, man, since day one, and passion that I pushed. I was like, I'm going to learn whatever it takes.
How'd you do on the test, the final test? Was it hard?
I can't remember the score, but I passed on my first time.
Okay.
I did.
Do a lot of people pass on the first time?
Yes, there's a lot. Some still fail as well, but...
Is there a cutting element and a written element?
Yes, you got the practical and the written exam. Yes, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Got 2 parts.
Okay. So you made it out of school. A fun year, right?
Yep.
Hitting the books, cutting the hair. So what was the next step, man? I mean, how do you start making money as a barber? Like, what do you do?
That's the thing. I was at that point, I was young. Before I started school, I didn't have no money either, David. I was like barely working at this gas station, just trying to get some things here and there that I like, some shoes here and there. Because my dad, like I said, he was taking care of us, but like it was just to a minimum, you know what I'm saying? Because it was just tough coming up. But that's why I worked a little bit here and there. But before that, my dad actually had paid for my barber school. And that's why I told him, I was like, listen, man, I really appreciate you. I would love for you to help me out. He's like, for sure, of course. That's one thing my dad always supported. And he I paid him back, but he made me borrow. I let me borrow the money, which back then it cost $7,500. But once we graduated, man, there was a couple barbershop. There's a family friend of ours that actually worked here, and started working with that. Like worked at a couple shops in '08. That's when I first started.
Okay.
The beginning of my career in Lexington since 2008.
See, I was thinking I was thinking you had just started your career when I first met you, but you've been going for a minute.
Since 2008.
So you've been going for a minute by the time.
Because I graduated in '07 high school.
Right.
Took about a year in barber school. In '08, got my diploma, and then that's it. Got out, and I just grinded, cut hair, and still do.
Yeah, I'm well aware. But so you worked at some family. I mean, kind of what was the progression from like to where you're at now? Like far as, you know, hitting the ground running. I mean, things have changed so much in the way that hair has cut, right?
A lot, man.
Like,
and I've been through all that transition.
Like I feel like when I first met you, maybe you were coming into that new, like that transition of going from like, I feel like there's different levels of barbers, right? And you were kind of leveling up when I first met you, because you're like, you went from just being like an everyday hair, like let me get your beard, let me get your hair,
exactly,
to like let me stylize you, like I want you to walk out of here and I want people to say like, fuck, that dude looks good. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, because
sauced up, as they say.
Because you know we had Fawad on here a couple podcasts back.
Shout out to my
and I remember the first time he cut my hair, I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, who's like this change just blew my mind, right? Because like I never had someone take a razor and just edge up my beard. And like I remember one time he made a little cut in my hair, and it was like a little line, like I don't know,
hard part.
I don't know what it was, but people like gave me so many compliments for it,
okay.
And like, but it just like it opened up my eyes to like this like getting your hair cut and getting there's getting your hair cut, and then there's going and getting your hair stylized to a point to where people are just like, wow, this is like
fits
part
you really well.
Exactly,
yep.
right.
Yep.
And so I feel like you were making that transition when I first met you, but I mean like kind of up to that point, you worked at a couple different shops.
So yeah, that's the thing, David. So when I first started, bro, in '08, and somebody was actually asking me this Saturday, like, you know, well, how long you been cutting, where you started, and something came up with social media, yada yada. So when I started in '08, bro, I was doing $10 haircuts, bro. $10 haircuts, just running through them. 10, 12 minutes, that's the most. But
so you were knocking people out quick.
Yeah, it was just that shop at top of volume. It was just that.
In and out.
In and out.
Well, and was the stylized haircut really that popular then? Because I really don't feel
not as much because like social media back then wasn't even popping that much.
Right.
It was out, but like it was not like
the
it is
competition
today.
isn't
There's
like
no
what it
way.
was.
Yeah, no. The way people got haircuts when I was cutting hair when I first started is you walked in the barber shop and you had a little rack of magazines, right? So you got like Men's Health. You would have like, you know, Sports Illustrated or something. You just go through that and then you come to the barber. Hey, man, I kind of want something like this. Okay, cool. And that's how you got them. Now,
I remember that. Like my
they
mom,
come up in
that's
here,
how my
it's
mom did it when I was like a little kid.
Exactly.
She'd go through the magazine and say, pick out a picture you like.
Yep.
And then like the barber would just try to do the best they could.
5 years of that, David. Like did that for 5 years. To the point, that's where I was actually telling some of my barber students here recently. I was like, the 5 years though, I learned a lot because there was a lot of like flat tops. There was a lot of clip over comb work, shear work. It was just like the standards of barbering. Like it was crucial.
Like the basics?
Yeah, I didn't know it then, but like I was cool because I was making a little bit of money here and there more than I was before. So it was just a whole transition itself. But about 5 years after that, I started really like more trying to evolve. Like, man, hold up. That's when everything started getting a little better. Instagram was out. I had to open an account. And I'm like, there's more to barbering. I always kept telling myself that.
It's a brand now.
Exactly. Because like, for me, where I come from, nothing, David, and whatever I was doing then, it was like really good for me. You know what I'm saying? And whatever that it is, regardless, you got to always be blessed. Got to shout out to the man upstairs. You know what I'm saying? Little or big. So throughout that transition, I was like, man, it's okay. I'm able to help my dad. Woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? Throughout that, don't go for that. Always scared, you know, to not go to the next thing. I don't know if I should do it. But little did I know, David, for 5 years, man, I was missing out on the evolution, the change of the game, of the barbering game, bro. Where just everything with the Instagram started changing.
You didn't miss out for long, though.
No. Well, that's why I saw what time it was. I was like, you know, oh, shit. Like, if I don't step right now, if I don't, you know what I'm saying, all gas, no brakes right now, oh, man, it's going to be, it's never too late, but I'm going to have to be late on the train. So I hopped on it, David, and ended up leaving, like, that particular shop I worked at. And I was like, it's time for me to go change it up and do everything that I think, you know, is fun and cool to do and experience. So that's when I started getting more into like doing tapers and skin fades, low highs, you know, more shear works, texture and all that. So after that 5 years were to the point where honestly I almost didn't want to say I got burnt out, because I'll cut hair till I die, even if I have to cut one haircut a day just to have clippers in my hand. But I was just like, man, after 5 years, is this it? Like, is this all I'm gonna have to do all the time? So I was like, no. And I started getting more on YouTube.
To it, though.
YouTube was, you know, still getting more popular. And I was like, oh shit, there's a lot more to this thing. And I'm in an industry, because I always told myself, and I always tell my kids this as well, do whatever you want to do. We want to go to school, this and that, but find something you love, man. And find something that like, there's always that your need of. Like, for example, a barber, you always need a barber. Wherever you go, people need haircuts, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that I always thought about.
Skill set that's not going to die.
Skill set, exactly. It's never going to die. It doesn't matter what it is, you know, but something that you can go anywhere, pick up your shit and leave. And if you're good enough and you understand your shit, you're going to be good. You're going to be all right, you know? And that's what it was, bro. So that's how I just started moving around, this and that, and experiencing working at a different shop, and just kept going though, because once I was exposed to like, there's some like major sauce. There's sauce and there's like some major sauce. Once I figured and was able to get to that and touch it and see it.
And you're at major
then
sauce.
I just started.
You're at the major sauce level. You're at like.
Man, you know, I feel like it's a never.
I know you're always learning, but you're at a level.
But I do take pride in my work.
Yeah,
yes, I do take pride in my work, my detail, I really do. You know that as well, because like I don't just cookie cut any haircut. Never,
also, like
never.
Like it got expensive, man. Like in general, like getting a haircut,
yes, that's
getting a beard trim and a haircut. It got
myself personally.
it got it. Well, not just you, just in general, right?
Exactly.
Like if I go anywhere, it's what $30-$40 minimum,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
And that's not even with tip.
$10, David, is what I was doing.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what like a great clips cost anymore. Like they're probably still at $15-$20 maybe. But
No, great clips.
Yeah.
No, I think there's still $5-$6.
Are they really?
Oh yeah, because that's a market for like people that don't give a shit about like presentation.
Yeah, exactly.
They just are glad to have, no disrespect, but that's the market that works, because
Right.
people still need a haircut, and they just, as long as
But
they got shit out
the
their
better
head.
you get, the more you can charge in a manner of speaking.
Absolutely, quality, man, quality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what happens once you start, you know, seeing some better things and better quality, whatever it is.
So how'd you end up at Cuts Online? Because I mean, that's where you're at now.
That's
You've
another
been at-
story. Okay, cool. So
That's-
we're
you've
going to touch
been-
up on a bunch of subjects today. My man
Oh,
Kieran over here.
yeah,
actually
we're
gonna be
having
in
a
it too.
blast.
This is
We're
some
having a
history.
blast. Well,
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
well,
love
you
it.
know, you like you said, you kind of 5 years of doing this and that, and then you started to level up a little bit. You started to get better.
Yes,
but like
man,
I said, when Cuts Online, I really feel like when you went to Cuts Online,
that's the
that was
the
like
house
that
right
was
there.
the beginning of the end, or not really the beginning of the end, but that was the beginning of like you becoming like one of the top barbers in Lexington.
Well, I
like
appreciate that. Yes, that was
like that's what I'm
Cuts
saying,
Online,
guys.
yeah.
Like this guy
Shout
isn't
out
just a
Cuts
barber. He's like one of the top barbers in our town. And most people would agree with me, especially if they've
Appreciate
been
that,
cut
David.
by him. Like
Appreciate
this-
that.
I don't have just some barber like him, Fuad, a couple other guys in
Yes.
town. Like
Everybody.
they are like top notch barbers, like high end.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
But I feel like that was the beginning of that journey. Was when you went to
that's
Cuts
when
Online.
it started getting a lot of fun.
Also, I feel like that is kind of a requirement. Like it's kind of like a thing. If you get picked up by Cuts Online, if they let you cut in their barber shop, like it says something about you as a barber.
Yes, sir. That's no Cuts Online runs this shit. So how you said how I met with
Yeah. So how'd you end up with Fuad? How'd you end up at Cuts Online?
So
you
me
know?
and Fuad. So after I made that transition, I was like, okay, it's either I evolve now or I stay right here, and
Right.
then eventually I'm gonna burn out, and who knows what I'm gonna do.
Right.
I was like, but the passion is too deep. So once I started going through that path, once I worked for a little bit, and I got really comfortable, and I was able to do some of these haircuts that I was not able to do, like a taper and a really crispy lineup or like a low skin fade. I wasn't doing these as much, you know. So once I started learning the whole recipe and breaking down the sauce and putting my own twist on it, I was like, I feel like wherever I was at that point, I outgrew my circle and like my skill set, and it just my mindset. Not that I was anything better than anybody. It's just I was like, there's something next to this. Like I got to keep moving, either open
Right.
my own thing or go do something. And I always knew that in this game, bro, because I always keep saying passion and love, and I really do. Like for this game, for the barbering industry, I got, you know, a lot of love and respect for it because this made me who I am today. Like, this made me find my purpose. It made me become the man I needed to be. You feel me? And because I took it seriously, I didn't ever cookie cut the whole barbering industry, the whole career, or whatever you don't call the business itself. I just took it full throttle, and I was like, all gas, no brakes. I'm gonna put in my 1,000, not my 100, and see what it does when it puts back. And it did. And it's not just what you make, this and that. It's just the whole outcome itself. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, 100.
So as once I came to that journey, I actually had my second kid. I believe I was about to have my second kid almost. I think I only had the first one. So I was like in a different mindset now. I was like, hey, I gotta make some moves to where I can provide more now because
For my family.
because I saw what I went through, my dad and my family growing up. Now it's my turn, you know, so I gotta, you know, figure where to go. And somehow one day or another, man, Brother Farouk calls me up. He's like, hey, man, I don't know where. I don't know. But I kept praying on it. I was like, man, let me know what it is, you know?
Because you were one of the first barbers when he first opened up his shop.
That's the thing. I think it was about almost a year after he opened up.
Okay.
I was, the second? I think the second or the third. I'm not for sure. But he had just started out the barbershop. So I guess he had heard or something that, like, I was trying to do, you know, my career. And we always knew because we were in the same community.
Right.
But we really never talked to each other.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we knew we were barbers. But obviously I was cutting a little way before he started. But for some reason, every time, you know, I ran into this man, we just always had that vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, you know, me and him could get along. So long story short, he calls me up one day. I just get home from work and he's like, hey, what's going on, man? And at that point as well, he was looking for somebody to grow together, you know, to make the whole journey more fun and get what we can out of it. You know what I mean? And once he called me, David, we talked on the phone for a little bit, you know, just about like catching up, what you do, you know, family and where you're from, we'll barber talk, you know?
Yeah.
And from that phone call, man, it just got nothing but serious. Like, we got really tight. We got to meet each other, similar background, similar upcoming.
And you guys, you both love barbering.
And, yeah, man, you know, and same upcoming too. You know, that's another guy, man, that just started from the bottom, bro, and just put his 1 million, not 1,000% in hard work. And just went from that, man. Met him there. He made a phone call. He's like, hey, man, this is where I'm at. I'm trying to, you know, grow opportunity. And I always knew, David, that it takes two hands to clap. And especially in this business, in this small town like this, I always wanted to have some, like, something special when it comes to the barbering industry in our area, in our city. And I knew that you can't never do it yourself, man. You got to have a team, whatever that it is. You got to have, like, that type of mindset. So
you have the right people around you.
Absolutely,
it's
man.
so
you know,
important.
whoever you surround yourself is obviously what you're going to get.
Yeah, 100.
And that just from day one, I always felt that with him and vice versa, and dove in the business aspect itself. And once we clicked, man, I was like, you know what? I believe this is where I could make home, man. This is like, I believe we could do some fun over here. And I just prayed on it, man, and went with that instinct. I always go with my gut feeling every time. Till this day, I think everyone should. But once I made that decision, bro, the rest was history.
So you've been cutting there for, what, 6, 7 years? Has it been that long?
Almost that, I believe, 7 or 8, going for 7, 8.
And so one of the things that I thought was really interesting about you, Issa, and I'm sure I was a little bit of an influence on it, was
Absolutely.
like when you really got going, you know, you took that cutting, the way that you did things at the shop, like to the next level. And then you just like, I need to create content.
Yes.
I need to start doing stuff on Instagram. I need to really, really put myself out there. And like, what caused that transition? Why did you start? Because that's something I don't see. I see barbers do it, but not the way you did it. You took it to this whole nother level of like, you were so precise, so picky about all the content, even the stuff I was shooting for you,
David
the
knows me
pictures.
too long.
But I mean, like, what as a barber, like, you know, you're a barber, you're not a photographer, you're not a videographer, but all of a sudden, you know, you're creating content. You bought your first big DSLR, big boy camera during this phase.
I did.
What caused all that? Why'd you decide to do that?
So when I was telling you earlier about when I had left, like, changed it up after 5-6 years, you know, I was like, I want to do more of the haircut. So after a while, like, you know, through practice, you get pretty, you know, good at it and whatnot. So I was comfortable enough with the haircuts, but another thing that I was, you know, missing, like, because I really I've always been active on the social media and stuff and try to get good quality, but talk about going on with a big boy, the one that you have to start in exposure and all that. We had so many talks about that. But I knew that I'm not all the way there, and it really took for you to incorporate that, like the camera and the video, because that's what everybody was coming in. I was like, I went from a point to where people didn't care what they were getting. They really didn't. They just said a name or a magazine. But now they're showing you a video. They're zooming in. They're like so much detail. So to me, I was like...
So you saw other people were bringing other people's barbers cuts to
yeah,
you,
man,
kind of,
just
and you're
because
like...
it got so popular, like everything, hey, I want this.
And you
now,
realized you need to get on it.
Yeah, I was like, I got to show everything I got. So if I'm sitting here putting a lot of detail, a lot of work, I was like, what's the best thing that's going to show my work to promote myself, my business, my name? And no lie, by doing that, that's when, I really saw that, like, it makes a difference, the following, the detail, and just stands out. Because to me, David, I always look at that as like, as you see the page, it's always, man, this is like your advertising tool, because, it's like free stuff that they let you do. So when I had left, that era of just doing basic ass shit, which I can't hate that, because there was a lot of basics, fundamentals of the barbering that I had learned that I still learn till today.
Your content looks great.
But exactly. So now
half of the content you've had professionals like myself and some other people work with you.
Yes.
But
yes.
I mean, now you're doing your own content.
For sure.
With your own professional cameras.
And that's the thing, David, because to me, I believe if you, like I said earlier, man, if you want to like really stand out as because this is you're always working for yourself, man.
By the way, what was that first video that you had up there at the very top? Is this the Lexington Airport, by the way?
Yes, this is the one here in Lexington. We actually.
So I see you all fitted up in a suit here,
jet Lear mode. You feel me?
And how did you even?
This is one of my clients, man. Flies plane, but that's the thing with barbering, David.
That's unique. It's different.
Yes, it is. It's so cool. The fact that the barber is not just cutting hair, man. This shit is a lifestyle, David. I kept telling all these students all the time the past couple of months. I've been there so much more often than I was at the shop.
This is pretty cool.
You got to take it serious, man. Like you got to. Barbering can open to so many more doors than just.
Kevin come out and shoot this for you?
Yes, he did. He did.
Yeah, man. Dude's talented, man.
He is
talented videographer.
He's definitely a talented one for sure. But the influence has always been there. So I surround myself like you, Kevin, and wasn't that influence, and that's what made me like, man, that is the thing. Why does everybody go get Apple, man? Because their presentation, bro, is freaking A1 all the time. So with me in this business, there's so much competition. I knew that by me starting to learn more about videography, photography, and all this stuff, and getting better equipment, and I was like, this was gonna.
You think it's made you a better barber?
Absolutely, yes.
Like going back and watching these videos, taking a look at these pictures.
That's another reason why I like to post, is because you go back and you check, like you're like, oh, okay, because you're forever learning, man. Especially in this business,
right? You
could always get better, man. There's always something new every time. You know what I mean? But with that camera, what I notice is the fact that I get more feedback. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'd be in that category, like, man, this man, wants that quality. And that's something I always served in, especially my haircuts, that precision, quality, a lot of details. So I was like, all this work, man, this thing will show it. And there's sometimes that I saw some flaws in my haircuts that I can't lie. But I like that, because when I go through the footage, I can see what I need to do better next time. So that was the whole influence itself, man. And once I was able to like really go in depth and really learn more of the editing and all that.
Yeah. Well, that's right. I mean,
it became fun. It became a hobby.
You're editing your own videos now.
Yes, I am. Yes.
I mean, you're not
It's
just
fun.
You're not
still
just
learning though. I'm still like, I feel like a basic one, but
yeah, I mean, when you first
I'm willing to open and learn more now since the whole school thing and all that. You know what I'm saying? But
when you got your first camera, I remember. I mean, me and Kevin, we'd come over. We'd be like teaching you stuff. Yeah, man, you'd come over to my house.
We did.
We'd hang out, chill, and we just like you're like a little kid in school, man. You're like, I want to know this. How does this work? What does this do?
Man.
Why do you do this?
Because you guys had passion for it, and that's who I was. I saw that.
Yeah,
I was like, that's dope, because the way when you have passionate people, they have a different way of telling you or like getting things to your head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it always made sense, and I was like, man, that's.
Now you're editing your own videos.
Who doesn't want to see anything better, David? I mean, every time you go to Apple, and why you always want the better Apple? Our eyes are always meant to want better, and we as humans, we always do that. So I felt like this was such a big thing for itself, for it to grow and be more out there and make sure my chair stays booked.
And look at you now. I mean, you stay pretty much booked around the clock.
Blessed, yes, man. Stay pretty booked.
And I mean, in the last month, you raised your prices.
I did.
What do you, I mean,
did.
what's a haircut? What's a beard trim and a haircut cost these days?
Nowadays, man, just recently we made that change. Actually, that's been actually a topic that's been kind of talked about recently, especially in my circle. But man, David, after 14 years, bro, I feel like I've spent so much time. I've fried my brains, as I like to say, of trying to achieve that haircut, man. That when you do walk and you're like, damn,
Exactly.
like, who the fuck sauced him up? You know what I'm saying? That's what everybody wants, man. So I was always willing to focus on that. And now that I'm pretty comfortable with being able to achieve that and still learning, you know what I'm saying? But you're not paying for like my time and like you're paying for the experience, David, you know, that I put. It doesn't matter how long it takes me.
We're paying for the skill and time that you put in to get to where you're
man,
at.
because I have a lot of pride and love in my artwork. I don't just half-ass a haircut. I make sure that person gets what they want, but also like, as you see through my Instagram, I don't have to say much because that does the talking
It
for
just
me.
blows my mind what people pay, and don't get me wrong, you're worth every penny of it.
Absolutely.
But like what you're able to charge, and even this market.
Yes.
I mean,
And things have went up, obviously, as well. That's another topic. But no, that's another thing because I'm trying to transition more into a different aspect of the whole barbering industry now.
Right.
But one of the reasons because I feel like put my time in, man.
right. And your time's going to become more limited as
Absolutely.
we
It is.
We'll get on to the next topic of what your next venture is.
It is,
the next bit of growth.
but there
you're
is
doing.
though people that always want quality, and I was always that type of guy. Like, always want to reach the maximum quality or whatever that was. So that's with this. There's people that understand that because once you get exposed to the sauce, it's a wrap, bro.
So what would you say is the best business advice that you could give somebody? Just from you running your own business. I mean, you run your own business,
Man,
you do
I'm
your own
telling you
thing.
what,
Like someone starting out, someone that's already been running a business, what's some good advice you could give somebody?
So a couple of things, David, real quick, man. Presentation.
Okay. You mentioned that a couple different times.
And that the reason why is because the presentation, when I bring that up, man, it's like for myself personally in my business, for me to keep it growing and keep my chair busy and have my name for myself and whatnot in the area is the fact that like I've always treated it mine. You know, it's like a fun store. You know, it's like this is it. You know, the haircut, you're changing somebody's day. So the whole thing doesn't consist just the haircut, it's the experience, the talks and all that. So to me, I felt like the quality that I put out there is put a lot of time put in there.
So presentation is a big thing that you think, at least for your business. You're saying that for anybody that's running a business, the way that you present yourself is extremely
important. And by
important.
saying but presentation is another thing because I have a bunch of stuff I want to say on here, so I'm trying to puzzle it together. My first podcast is the fact that David mentioned, you know, the cleanliness. I use good cologne, bro. I use good cologne with my clients when I get done with it. That's the whole thing, like treating them.
So it's quality of product as well.
When you treat them good, they're gonna treat you well. You know what I'm saying? All around. You feel me? So I've always catered for that presentation to be good, to welcome. And when you have that, that's what people will come back for. Just like wherever I go, you know, I always go with Apple products because their presentation is always dope. They always get me to buy it. You know what I'm saying? So
and the quality of the products, the presentation also is backed up by the quality of the product along with it. Like you see the presentation and then you get the product and you like, okay, that what they presented in front of me 9 times out of 10 is what I got.
Exactly. And that's another thing to add to this because we could talk about a lot more. But as far as business itself, what I've done for me is, like I said, the presentation and also the fact that, David, in this industry, there's a lot of good barbers, okay?
Right.
And it's not about, there's talent everywhere, man. In this city, everywhere you go, you know, the forever it's growing, especially the younger generation. But it all comes down to is, can you outwork me? You know what I'm saying? Are you consistent as me with my discipline? That's what it is. Can you be consistent with your discipline all the time so for you to make it happen? And that's what it comes down to. Can you outwork me? Because there's talent everywhere. Everybody can do something dope, but it's putting in that work consistently, bro. In this career, that's what it takes. You got to be behind the chair all the time, and you got to present something dope every time.
So about a year ago, you went back to school. If I'm correct, was it about a year ago?
Yes, sir. So this is another topic that we're going to now. So yeah, David, since this whole career and what it's done for me and what the person has made me, and I've always wanted to like lend a hand or share some love for the game and knowledge. Even though, like I said, I'm still learning. I'm not the best. Don't want to be the best.
But also grow your business at the same time.
Absolutely. Is teaching. You know, I was always wanted to help. I always wanted to like, because the thing is, I always communication is something that is so lethal in this game. And I've always made sure that client tells me exactly how they exactly felt about my haircut. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, David, I decided, man, about a year ago that I want to take the route of still, like I said, I'll never stop cutting hair, bro. I'll cut hair till the day I die. Like, even if it's just one haircut. It's like a drug. But the whole situation with the teaching, man, is a whole different bubble that I feel like that's where the purpose is at. I feel like that's what's led me now. Me just turning 34 last week. I feel like it's time to put the love in it, man, and give back something to the industry, to the love of the game.
Okay.
So that's where we at, man. I went and got my license and fully instructor now as a teacher.
How was it like going back to school to get like your instructor license? What was that like over the last year?
Man,
because you're still cutting hair, you're still taking care of a wife, 3 kids, a family, right? I mean, like you still have a full life, but now you're back in school on top of that, and now you've got to still provide for the family. Like, what was that like for the last year?
David, no lie, it's been tough, bro. Because like you said, once you have a family, man, you got to move different.
Right. I mean, you went down to what, cutting 2-3 days a week?
Yeah, there for a while because I had to go do my hours. That was one part of the reasons. Excuse me. Is you have to get 600 hours, working as a teacher for you to be able to move on and do whatever you want to do. So I actually went to Campbellsville University in Harrisburg.
Okay.
I taught there for about almost
a year. 45-minute to an hour drive?
Man, it's a 45-minute drive, bro. So that's what I was doing, like 2-3 days a week going over there. But man, it all made sense because I just recently finished that, like about a month and a half ago or 2. But the connection with the students and the whole vision behind it, I felt like I knew, but it made more sense, David. Because like one of the biggest things that eye-opener for me was throughout the process of me going over there, trying to go to school and still had to cut, you know what I'm saying? And still cutting, but to provide and whatnot. There was this one day the student was like, man, I appreciate you coming in, bro. I was like, okay. It was the end of the day. Everybody about to clock out. He's like, man, no lie. I was about to give up in this shit, man. He's like, but you came here and you shared some love. You really showed truly of how you feel about this thing. And you really actually motivated me and made me see the bigger picture of the whole barbering thing. So he's like, I'm about almost there to graduate, man. And I appreciate you doing that for me. That like your energy, your mindset actually got me to see that more. And I was like, damn. So I know I didn't feel it then, but on my way home, David, it's not about you trying to be, get cocky and all that. I feel like I'm somebody, man. I've never been that type of guy. Never was, never will be. But to me, it was just an eye opener. Like, man, that is it. That's the purpose, bro. Because to be able to put something like that in somebody's life, man, to me, it's priceless.
Right.
To connect, to help them out, and because in return, you never expect something back, but I know in return that type of energy, man, is going to be so much more. You know what I'm saying? And helping out the people, and that's what it's all about, man. Helping one another. So the teaching thing, bro, it's a big thing. It's a big career. It's something I always wanted to do. Me and my brother Farouk, actually, that's where we're going to go and make this happen together, man, as a team member. Because like I said earlier, it takes 2 hands to clap. And that's me and him always believed in teamwork. And that's why we're going to make this shit happen, David. And I can't wait, man, because it's going to be a good change.
Because you're going to open up your own instructor
It's going to be a big change,
You're
man.
going to be teaching. You're going to start your own barber school.
Exactly, man. That's where we at, man. And I can't wait.
What was the hardest part about getting that instructor license for you?
Man, like I said, that journey right there, David, that I had to actually go test.
The test itself.
Yes, because there's sections that you got to do to get there.
And it's
like
a
2-3
pretty
sections.
high fill rate, isn't it?
It is pretty high. As soon as you get there, they're like, hey, man, don't get discouraged. Because they're like, you might not go through this. I'm like, whoa. But something with me, David, is when I tackle something, I don't want to half-ass it. I'm going to do it my way. But then again, it's because of passion and love. I always work off of that.
Right.
If your gut feeling is that telling you that, then, that's what I went, So once I went through that route, which is, teaching, man, it's bigger than everything, than I thought. You know what I'm saying? And it's just something dope that I can't wait to tackle because it's going to be, fun. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of hard work, but I know the purpose behind that and the change for the industry itself here that's going to open up doors. It's going to be great, man. for the community, because I've been, giving haircuts in this community for 14 years, David. That's a long ass time, bro, and there's been nothing great. I met great people, met great friends, but I feel like now it's time for me to cut back on the cutting and just start going in that aspect with my brother Fuad, man, coming soon.
So are you going to continue to cut even though you're going to open up the school? Because I know that's going to take up
right
time.
now, man, yes, I am going to. But then again, once the school starts, we'll see what the future has to tell. But like
as long
I
as
said,
you have time for me, that's all I care about.
Oh, for sure, man. But the teaching aspect is going to take a lot more, because the vision
Right.
that I got and that I want to do and bring to the table, especially to the city, man, is so big and it's so much.
So can we talk about your plans for the school?
Yes, sir.
Like how, like this is, I talked to you a little bit about it the other day when I was getting my hair cut. And you guys plan to bring a whole new fresh sauce, brand new sauce that no one's offering.
Mm-hmm.
That's unique. So can you tell us a little bit about how your barber school is going to stand out amongst every other motherfucking barber school in this fucking United States?
Bro. Exactly.
Like you guys, you have some of your ideas just blew my mind. Like you are here to like physically change the way that people go through barber school.
Yes. And I hope I do that, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Getting the younger generation.
Right.
Better for the next level.
I want to hear the lay down here.
Like I said, because as we are in process, we're trying to get something, man, because the past year, me and Fuad, we have really been traveling, trying to learn, see some of these schools, shadow, and just see what they got to offer out there. Because we're just not in it for the numbers, man. You know what I'm saying? That's just not it. Because being in the barber career and meeting people every day.
I believe the numbers will come if you provide a good service. If you are good at what you do and you are passionate about it and you don't care about the money, but you care about the end product,
yeah,
the money's going to come.
Exactly.
It always comes.
So that's why I see that, David. Like I've been, testing the whole game itself, see what it is. And we need a lot more better barbers, man, because there's a lot of people that go to school, but they don't make it, man. In this career where if you take it all gas, no brakes with full potential, man, it could do a lot of great stuff. It can open a lot more doors, And like I said, it's not just numbers, but it's all up to the schools as well. That's the thing. Like a lot of these schools, are just in for the numbers. And that's what I've seen is so high that I'm like, that's not the whole purpose behind it.
You think it burns kids out because they're more worried about making money than they are about making better barbers?
Well, it's about the whole experience and presentation. So
Right.
that's why with our school, David, to just kind of make it short and simple and sweet.
We don't got to be short and simple and sweet.
We're trying to bring something, man, to like have the whole atmosphere itself, just have the culture, just like how you feel the barbershop. How you come in there. It's going to be pretty much almost the same thing.
Well, I mean,
man.
I walk in and I know there's 6 guys?
Yeah, including me and Farouk.
Yeah, 6 of you all together.
Yeah, so
I say hi.
8 total. 8.
Oh, okay.
Including
Yes.
me and him.
Yeah. So I pretty much know everybody's name.
Yep.
I say hi to almost everybody. And if I don't say hi first, they say hi to me. Like when I walk in, even though I'm not their client, because people are very loyal.
Yeah.
People are very loyal to
They'll
their
even slide
specific.
a joke with you just because they're confident enough. Because you can't slide a joke with every client that walks in there. But the clients that we do slide jokes in there.
Fucking Danny gives me shit every time.
Yeah, they say
every
ride,
time.
because
I don't know what it
is. It's just like that, bro, love. Because you see them a lot, man. If you think about it, there's a lot of times you get to see these people.
I've seen Danny, Max, like
great dudes, man. Great people, man.
Amazing.
Family. Yeah.
I told Danny, man, hit me up. We're gonna have him on because
I told him
like, with his military,
with his, was like, I'm gonna try.
With his background, I told him though, he's
just
being lazy,
out,
man. He has my number.
Everybody got their own story and journey, man.
I know.
I
was like, all you gotta do is text me, meet me up for some coffee. We'll set a date. We'll get you on the podcast.
Dope.
So I'm just waiting for that text.
Awesome.
That's all I'm doing.
Awesome.
But no, like the environment when I walk into your guys' barbershop, it's like everyone's super friendly. And granted, I've been coming there, I think 5 years.
5 years. I'd say definitely 5 years.
I think 5 years I've been having you cut me. And it's like everyone's so friendly, like always. I mean, I stop and talk business with Farouk, and
because it's not just about a haircut, it's the whole
it's
atmosphere,
it's experiments. Yeah, I mean, there are times like I'm waiting for you to cut me. I'm sitting there talking with one of the other 2 or 3 barbers, or they're asking me questions. Like some of the other barbers are starting to get into the photo and video thing, and they'll toss a few questions my way. Yeah, so I get exactly what you're saying in the aspect of like you want to have that feel when these students come in to learn how to cut hair.
Exactly. So that's why, with that being said, David, we just want to make it very clean, man, to come in there and see like the professionalism, the presentation always on time. We want to teach like.
Are you going to have a professionalism class, communication class?
Oh, see, that's the thing. We want to bring in like photography, videography. Like that's how deep we're going to go. Obviously, you're going to have the whole curriculum themselves and the cutting.
So are you going to have your own curriculum on the side? Like, are you guys going to have a separate curriculum that they have to pass to kind of like graduate from your school?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's
so
21
there'll be
chapters
like,
of the whole curriculum that you got to pass.
Right, but what I'm saying is like, okay, so there's a curriculum that has to be passed on the state level, right?
Correct.
For them to get their license.
Absolutely.
Is there going to be a separate curriculum that they almost have to pass, like maybe a test that you guys have created to make it out of your school? So they could make it through the school, pass the test,
So the biggest
but you wouldn't necessarily say they graduated from your school because they didn't pass, like, because your guys' plan is to offer photo and video, is to teach them professionalism,
yeah, there's some
communication.
extra small stuff, yeah, that we want to put in there just because,
But if they can't pass that aspect of like what you're trying to teach, are they going to be able to like say that they graduated from your school? They can say they graduated and got their license, but are they going to be able to say they graduated from your school because there's a certain level of professionalism, a certain level of student that you guys, kind of like Fawad, he doesn't just let anybody come in and cut at his barbershop, right?
Correct.
You have to be at a certain level to even get into the door.
Right.
Right. So is it going to be kind of like that with your, is that what you guys are trying to
Yes,
cultivate
I
here?
mean, it's for everybody,
is
obviously,
like,
but like we really want like the people that want out there and get it, that have that passion.
But
that
I mean,
love
when
it.
people like graduate from your school, people are like, "Oh shit, I don't know what your school's going to be called, right?"
Right.
But like whatever you guys call it, and they said I graduated from this school, they're going to be like, hire them on the spot,
Exactly.
because these guys have a reputation for putting out the best.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to try to aim to, is just having a good, knowledgeable school all around, man. That's just like breaks it down from A to Z. Because at the end of the day, once you leave from there, you should be ready to get rock and rolling, man. Like, you just got to put that grind I was talking about earlier. Like, yeah, good barbers everywhere, but how consistent.
But you want your barbers to walk away and be able to make and command high top dollar for their cuts.
Yes, man, and to make some have some good quality hair.
They're not doing no $10 haircuts. They're coming out of school and they're going to be doing.
That's one thing I always hear, David, is that, man, like people, I swear, every time I cut somebody new, it's like, man, I got butchered, from a different area, not where we're working at, and it's like somebody new, and that's what the thing is. It's just like there is a lot of barbers, but there's not a lot of like good barbers. You know what I'm saying? Consistent barbers. And that's why I feel like there's so much to that whole puzzle that by what we're going to try to offer is just make it more understandable, the fact that if you really just follow what the sauce is, man, it's not that hard. Like, once you get that shit, man, you good. Like, you can always grow from that. Like, you could just, it's unstoppable, man. But our school, David, because I don't want to talk much about it.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, how deep can we get into it? Because
that's the thing, because
I'd love to dive
emotion,
in,
man. And I'm just the type of guy, you know what I'm saying? I just like to keep grinding, and once everything happens, it happens. But
I know you've got plans.
I'll just tell you one thing, David. I swear, what me and Farouk got, man, and the passion and love this man got together. That's why after so long, our friendship is still, very strong and forever will be. Is because the mindset is the same, but the knowledge and the energy and the mindset that we're going to be giving out as far as the whole career itself, that's if you want to take it serious, man, it's going to be dope. We're going to have all high-end equipment in there, man. It's going to be legit. Like, it's going to be so dope that I'm not just going in there to just clock in and clock out, bro. And same thing with him. Like, you're going to come in there and get, like, full-hand experience, man. Like, you're going to really see the real life hood of what it is to, like, be in the whole barber game itself, and what it takes to get to where you want to get to, because everybody got their own.
How are you going to teach these, especially these kids, communication? Because I think that's let's just be honest, I think that's going to be an issue, right? You got these 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids. I don't think they communicate well, right? They're stuck on their phones.
Well, it's always the phone. That's
so
the problem.
right. Like, how, and they don't have attention span. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have at least 30, 45 minutes of attention span per customer, right? You got to be able to talk to the customer. I mean, like you said, you build, like, these people that you've been cutting for 10 years, 15 years almost, right? you build these relationships with them. You're like a therapist in a manner of speaking.
For sure. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. But like communication is like,
it is, David.
Like it's everything. So how do you feel like you're going to be able to convey that to this younger generation? Or do you think that these kids already know that that's something they're going to have coming into it?
Well, if they're not willing to work on the communication aspect in general,
you think they're going to fail out anyways?
You do not need to be in this game.
Right.
You can't work on communication, period, David. Have an open mindset. You can't do it because...
When you went back to school to get your instructor license, you were helping instruct these new generations.
Correct.
What did you find communication wise with a lot of these newer people coming in? A lot of these younger.
Man, you gotta just accept and be open to listening to them.
Right, but I mean, like, what was your personal experience in working with these younger kids while you were instructing and you were learning to be an instructor? Did you see a lack of communication, or were you actually pleasantly surprised that like these kids kind of were open-minded and they were picking it up?
It was here and there. You could see that. But what I come to find out, David, is at the end of the day, it's how you portray the whole vibe itself, the whole picture, the whole understanding of what you're trying
it's
to
how
get
you
across.
portray, but it's how are they interacting, though, right?
How
or do you feel like that the way you were instructing and interacting with them and vibing with them was a very positive interaction, and they were able to pull from that and start learning that communication and start.
For me personally, I felt like I vibed and connected with everybody. I mean, I still have students right until this day.
So you feel like the instructor was extremely important in getting some of these very, very important skill sets.
And I feel like the only way you learn that is if you actually cut for so goddamn long. And that's why I feel like when I went to the aspect, because don't think like I didn't think about when you go into this industry, because it's a lot, you know what I'm saying, especially the teaching part. But it really just came down to is how you go about it, man, how you go about it. And yeah, there's a lot of kids that always want to be on the phone. Like I've seen it has changed to what I used to do back in my school year in 2007. It's a lot more different from now, but
smartphones have been out for like 3 years at that point in time.
Bro, it's like, if you had us, like, oh shit,
and a smartphone is nothing compared to what it is today.
the first iPhone came out when I almost graduated. I remember.
I remember that too. I was still in the military.
But it was tough, David. It is tough, like trying to get, because it's this damn phone right here. It's the problem. But honestly, when I was in there, once I made sure, like, I showed them the 1,000%, and like, hey, I let them know straight up, like, if you don't want it like this, it's not going to work. You're in the wrong industry. But I feel like as long as you see the purpose behind it, I think it's going to be all worth it, and that's what.
But that's on you as an instructor to get that purpose to these kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, how are you going to do that? Okay. I know I'm throwing some big stuff at you, but I mean, like I think that's just seeing in my own personal perception of these younger kids, right? Mm-hmm. Seeing them, I'm just highly intrigued on how you're going to be able to break through that wall and really, like you said, you had that one kid, I don't know if he was a kid, middle-aged dude, whatever. He said, like, I was going to quit if it hadn't been for you, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what do you bring to the table that's different?
That's the thing, because, like, accepting. I'm always accepting, man. And everybody got to be accepting, bro. You can't judge a book by its cover. They always say that shit, but you got to break it down. Like, man, everybody got the ups and downs. Nobody's perfect. So I always look at myself like, I'm always going to make the same mistakes in whoever that I meet. You know what I'm saying? So one thing was that for the younger generation, it's trying to get the picture to them, like, well, you're not wrong. Because nowadays it's like you get on here, oh, dope, this is it. David shot like this. All I got to do is do this, and I'm good as David. That's not how it goes, man. Or that's the wrong way. It's all about, like, getting to them, not saying they're wrong. There's a right way, but this is the better way. And I just felt like the communication barriers, when you can break those down, to let them understand it their way, the way they see it, instead of only your way, that's what always made it different for me for the past year, because I've had to sit there and study this to, like, be able to connect more so I can get my message across.
Do you feel like certain kids, or certain, I mean, not even have to be kids, right?
Yeah,
but
there's older guys, man. There's 45-year-old guys.
Certain students, did you find yourself changing your teaching style person to person trying that way you could try to get their message across instead of like using that same teaching style everybody, and if you don't like my teaching style, whoop-de-doo. But like you were like, I want you to succeed, so
almost custom.
So you almost had to customize it for something, and I'm sure there's a blanket way, right? But like, did you find that being able to change that way,
that's something that I saw that I need to definitely, because that's actually a question test that I have to take.
Really?
Yeah, there's different learners that there is out there.
Do you feel like that's a strength of yours?
Yes, but there's work to be worked on for sure. But that's something that I felt like needs to be very like on top of the list, get better as you go.
Do you feel like you identify when you're not succeeding in that aspect? Like when you're like, shit, I should have been more open-minded, or I should have talked to him this way, hoping for a result this way.
Yes.
So that's something that you feel like you could really work on as well. For
sure, man.
You're aware of it.
Yes, that's why I feel like for what's coming up now, it's like whatever I put in is going to come back, knowledge-wise and whatever that it is. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be learning together, and that's why I feel like it's going to be a fun journey because, I want everybody to be around there like they in it for the game, like they love the game. So we're just here to learn and have fun, man. And I want to turn the whole experience with the bro Fuad to making the school like, man, it was dope. It was fun. I learned a lot and more than I don't need to learn, but I just apply this, man. I should be all right. Because there's always going to be people to cut. There's people to cut all the damn time.
Yeah, except your guys' people are going to be the best coming out. Well, I mean, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I hope to see.
That's the journey, David, man. That's what the next chapter is, the barbering thing. But it's been fun, man. It's been a lot of growth behind that.
Yeah.
And the older you get, you try to reflect on that now to see, where we at.
Right. Well, reflecting, being aware of your mistakes,
for sure,
working on those are extremely important for growth, right?
Exactly. And I feel like that's, this whole entire time that I've been going through this journey is just so much change, through the whole family. I got kids now and married. Blessed,
and I've seen so much growth in you in the last 5 to 7.
You have, man,
I've been on the ride. I've been there for at least a third of your journey.
Yes.
And I have seen an unbelievable amount of growth over the years of watching you. Shit, man. I remember when I first started going to you, like I said, I feel like you were just starting to get to where you were, shaping people up with the razor and
I was getting really comfortable with okay, so this is the sauce right here, man. All I gotta do is just keep focusing.
Shit, you might have been cutting me still when I actually had hair on my head.
You did have a little hair.
now we just go bald all the time, man. We just keep that baby bald.
Mr. Clean mode.
Yeah, but it's easy for you.
Heck yeah.
It takes you no time. Yeah, exactly. It's great. But anyways, man, it has been a fucking phenomenal time talking to you.
It has been, man. Like for my first podcast, it's been fun. It's a lot. I feel like I might have made a mistake here and there, but honestly,
no mistakes,
it's just been me.
It's just talking. It's just talking.
Exactly.
And we just,
you don't have to be,
as you like to put it, we just vibing.
That's it. We just vibing, and you're always gonna get that out of me. Generally, just straight out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man. So you want to say anything to anybody out there? You want to throw social medias out, whatever, like this is your chance to be like.
Man, little
promotion.
If you don't follow me already, man, get on the Eurocuts, Euro_cuts on Instagram.
Keenan's always going to throw that up there for you guys.
Come see me, man. If you ever need a good life-changing haircut to where you're going to be like, what the fuck? It's not even you. It's going to be people talking about it. You come see me. But other than that, man, if you're ready to get into the next step, want to be a barber or want to start this journey, man, stay tuned, bro. We got some exciting stuff.
They got some shit coming up, and once they get that school going, maybe we bring you and Fuad back on once we get the school going, and we chit chat about that.
Come here soon.
Talk about that school, because I love hearing people and their business journeys and their journeys in general.
Absolutely, man.
What they did wrong, what they didn't do wrong. All right, quick question for you: biggest mistake you made as a barber since you've owned a business that you learned from? I'm gonna put you on the spot right here, right now.
A couple, but
as we're going out, a couple. Oh, you've already got a couple.
I think we talked about it earlier, man. Is because that's where I came to the point where I was like, I let the numbers more take over than what the whole thing behind it was.
So you were more focused on the money than you were on the.
After a while, you know what I'm saying?
On the love of the game.
Like I said, it was something that I come from nothing, man. And just when I got exposed a little bit, that's just like with a lot of people. When they get exposed to something too much, they get. And for me, it's not that I fell off. It's just I was losing the purpose and the whole thing behind the barbering thing that took 13 years.
You lost some of your passion for a second.
Yeah, and I was like, hold up, So It was because I was timid. I was scared to take that next step. Like, I was like, man, should I go learn all this? You got to do color. You got to woo razor a lot. And it was just always doubting yourself. But, man, honestly, I come to figure out, David, with anything else, as long as you sit there and practice the shit and you have somewhat love for it, the shit is going to end up working out somehow or another.
I agree with you 100%.
Just like whatever that you see out there, it'll be good just like that. You just got to outwork everyone.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun
bro.
talking
Thank you
to
for having
you.
me.
And as always, guys, we'll catch you next time.